The late 14th century, a time of shifting alliances, waning empires, and rising ambitions across the European continent. The winds of change were blowing fiercely, carrying with them the seeds of conflict and transformation. The Balkans, a fractured land, a mosaic of cultures and kingdoms, each vying for dominance and survival. Not a unified nation. Instead, it was a patchwork of principalities, duchies, and kingdoms, often at odds with one another, their borders shifting like sand in the desert. The Byzantine Empire, once mighty, the beacon of civilization in the east, now clung to Constantinople, its former glory fading with each passing year, a shadow of its imperial past, surrounded by rivals and shrinking by the day. Its emperors struggled to maintain control, facing threats from all sides. Bulgaria was split into rival tsardoms, each ruled by ambitious and often ruthless leaders, consumed by internal strife and blind to the looming threat from beyond their borders. Their energies were spent on petty squabbles and power struggles. The Serbian Empire, after Tsar Dušan's death, the once powerful kingdom that had briefly united much of the Balkans, fragmented as local lords seized power, carving up the empire into smaller, independent territories. Suspicion and rivalry, fueled by personal ambition and long-standing grievances, replaced unity among princes and kings. Alliances were fragile, and betrayals were commonplace. This division left the region dangerously exposed, vulnerable to outside forces seeking to exploit its weaknesses. The old powers, weakened by internal conflicts and external pressures, were too busy fighting each other, consumed by their own struggles for survival and dominance, to see the storm gathering on the horizon, a storm that threatened to engulf them all. The air was thick with impending change, a sense of unease that permeated every aspect of life. The old order was crumbling, its foundations weakened by years of neglect and internal strife. Something had to give, and soon it would. The delicate balance of power was about to be shattered. The Balkans, once a land of ancient civilizations, a cradle of culture and innovation, now stood on the brink of a precipice, facing an uncertain future filled with peril and promise. The predators were circling, drawn by the scent of weakness and the promise of easy prey. The stage was set for upheaval, a dramatic shift in the balance of power that would reshape the region for centuries to come. The region's weakness would soon be exploited by forces near and far, eager to expand their influence and control. The fate of the Balkans hung in the balance, teetering as the world watched and waited to see what would unfold. From the east, a new force emerged, poised to reshape the very landscape of power. The Ottoman Turks surged forward, a relentless tide of warriors, their numbers seemingly endless, their discipline unwavering. They were a force to be reckoned with. Driven by faith, a fervent belief in their cause fueled their every action, every conquest. Their banners proclaimed their devotion. Their prayers echoed their unwavering commitment. Ambition, a hunger for expansion and dominance, burned brightly in the hearts of their leaders. They envisioned an empire that would stretch across continents, a legacy that would endure for centuries, and brilliant leadership, strategists and tacticians who understood the art of war, guiding their armies with skill and foresight. They were masters of logistics, planning, and execution. Once a small Anatolian principality, a humble beginning in the vast expanse of Asia Minor, they grew rapidly, their influence spreading like wildfire, consuming everything in their path. Their territory expanded, their population swelled, and their power multiplied. Their military machine unmatched, a force of innovation and strength, equipped with the latest weaponry and employing cutting-edge tactics. They were the vanguard of a new era of warfare. They saw the Balkans divisions as opportunity, a fractured landscape ripe for conquest, a collection of squabbling kingdoms unable to unite against a common enemy. In 1354, a pivotal year that would forever alter the course of history, they crossed the Dardanelles, a strategic waterway separating east from west, a gateway to Europe, and seized Gallipoli, a crucial peninsula that would serve as their bridgehead, their launching pad for further incursions into the continent. A permanent European foothold, a stake driven deep into the heart of Christendom, a symbol of their unwavering resolve. From there, with Gallipoli secured and fortified, they launched deeper campaigns, pushing further into the Balkans, their armies marching relentlessly towards new conquests. The Christian states barely grasped the threat, blinded by their own internal conflicts and unable to comprehend the magnitude of the Ottoman advance. In 1369, another year etched in the annals of history, the Ottomans captured Adrianople, a major city and a vital strategic prize, renamed it Edirne, a symbolic act of dominance, a clear message that this land now belonged to them, and made it their capital, the heart of their growing empire, a testament to their ambition and their unwavering commitment to conquest. This was no raid, a temporary incursion for plunder and glory. They were here to stay, establishing permanent settlements, building fortifications, and laying the foundations for a new society. Their presence in Thrace threatened, casting a long shadow over the region, Bulgaria, Serbia, and Byzantium directly, their very existence hanging in the balance, their future uncertain. The Ottoman advance was relentless, a seemingly unstoppable force, pushing forward with unwavering determination, overcoming every obstacle in their path. Mixing conquest, the outright seizure of territory through military force, with vassalage, the subjugation of local rulers who were allowed to retain their positions in exchange for loyalty and tribute. Local rulers paid tribute, offering gifts and resources to appease the Ottoman overlords, or lost their lands, their power stripped away, their families displaced, their territories absorbed into the expanding Ottoman Empire. The Ottomans exploited every weakness, every division, every vulnerability, turning their enemies' shortcomings into opportunities for advancement. Their Ghazi warriors struck terror into the region, fearless frontier fighters who lived for war, raiding and pillaging, spreading fear and chaos in their wake. The Balkans teetered on the edge of a new era, a period of profound transformation, a time of both destruction and opportunity. The old powers faded, their influence waning, their authority crumbling under the weight of the Ottoman advance. As the Ottoman shadow grew, stretching across the map, engulfing everything in its path, a harbinger of a new order. A new order was being forged, a system of governance, law, and administration that would reshape the Balkans for centuries to come, one with brutal efficiency, a ruthless approach to conquest and governance, prioritizing order and control above all else. The balance of power was shifting, fast, irrevocably altering the political landscape of Europe and the Mediterranean. Amid crisis, two Serbian brothers saw the danger: despot Jovan Ugljesa and King Vukašin Mrnjavčević. Ugljesa, ruling from Ceres, watched the Ottomans seize Edirne and knew his lands were next. Vukašin, co-ruler of the Serbian Empire, held real power in the west. Both were seasoned leaders, aware that division spelled doom. Ugljesa, proactive and experienced, understood the Ottomans were no ordinary foe. He saw devastation firsthand and began planning a response. The brothers commanded significant armies and formed a crucial buffer against Ottoman advance. Yet they were isolated. Other Serbian lords were jealous or distracted. The Serbian Empire was no longer united. The brothers knew time was running out. Their strength was real, but their isolation was dangerous. The fate of their lands, and perhaps the Balkans, rested on their shoulders. The threat was closing in. Ugljesa sounded the alarm, seeking allies against the Ottomans. He appealed to the Byzantine emperor, offered to unite under him, and reached out to Bulgarians and other Serbian nobles. He warned divided they would fall one by one. But his pleas were ignored. The Byzantines were weak and distrustful. The Bulgarians divided and suspicious. Many Serbian nobles underestimated the Ottomans or hoped to make their own deals. The dream of a Christian alliance collapsed. Ugljesa and Vukašin stood alone. The fragmentation that made the Balkans vulnerable also doomed any hope of unity. Their frustration must have been immense. They saw the abyss ahead, but others refused to act. Still, their resolve did not break. The brothers prepared to face the storm alone. With no allies, Ugljesa and Vukašin chose action over waiting. They gathered a formidable army, perhaps up to 70,000 strong. Their target, Adrianople, the Ottoman capital in Europe. By striking at the heart, they hoped to cripple Ottoman power. Confidence was high, perhaps too high. The army advanced through Thrace, deep into enemy territory. Initial resistance was minimal, fueling their optimism, but they underestimated their foe. The night of September 26, 1371, approached. The Serbian army pressed on, believing this was their moment to halt the Ottoman tide. History, however, had other plans. The decisive confrontation was imminent. The fate of the Balkans would soon be decided. The Serbian army, brimming with confidence and eager for conquest, made camp near Chernomen. This strategic location placed them close to Adrianople, a key Ottoman stronghold. setting the stage for what they believed would be a swift and decisive victory. The air was thick with anticipation, the soldiers convinced of their impending triumph. Their confidence bordered on arrogance, perhaps even carelessness. The recent successes against smaller Ottoman raiding parties had inflated their sense of invincibility, leading to a relaxed atmosphere within the camp. Sentries were less vigilant, patrols less frequent. Reports suggest a significant lapse in reconnaissance efforts. The scouts, instead of diligently surveying the surrounding terrain, were remiss in their duties. This lack of proper surveillance, coupled with the lax discipline, created a dangerous vulnerability that the Ottomans would soon exploit. Instead of preparing for a potential battle, many soldiers indulged in celebratory feasts, fueled by copious amounts of wine and the unwavering expectation of victory. Songs of triumph echoed through the camp, masking the subtle sounds of the approaching enemy. They labored under the delusion that the Ottoman Empire was weak and vulnerable, especially with Sultan Murad preoccupied elsewhere. They drastically underestimated the resolve and resourcefulness of the Ottoman forces stationed nearby. But Lala Sahin Pasha, a seasoned and highly skilled Ottoman commander, was far from idle. He recognized the Serbian overconfidence as an opportunity and meticulously prepared his forces for a swift and decisive counterattack. With a small but exceptionally well-trained and fiercely loyal elite force, hand-picked for their combat prowess and unwavering discipline. Exploiting the Serbians' lack of vigilance, he meticulously planned a daring night attack, aiming to sow chaos and shatter their morale before a full-scale battle could even begin. Every detail was carefully considered, every contingency accounted for. Under the cover of darkness, the Ottomans silently crept into the sprawling Serbian camp, their movements masked by the shadows and the Serbians' drunken revelry. The Serbs, completely unprepared for such a bold maneuver, were caught in a vortex of chaos and confusion. Their celebratory mood instantly transformed into sheer terror. Panic erupted like wildfire, spreading rapidly through the camp. Shouts of alarm, desperate screams for help, and the general cacophony of utter confusion filled the night air. The Ottomans, with ruthless efficiency, struck key targets within the camp, focusing on eliminating officers and disrupting communication lines, maximizing the already rampant disorder and preventing any chance of organized resistance. Many Serbian soldiers were cut down before they even had a chance to grab their weapons and fight back, their lives extinguished in the blink of an eye. Others, seized by primal fear, desperately fled in any direction they could. Many, in their frantic attempt to escape, plunged into the cold, unforgiving waters of the Maritsa River, drowning in its depths. The once proud Serbian army, now a fragmented and terrified mob, was utterly routed, its cohesion shattered beyond repair. All semblance of discipline vanished completely in the bloody darkness, replaced by a desperate struggle for survival. It was a complete and utter rout, a merciless slaughter that would be etched in the annals of history. The once mighty Serbian host, brimming with confidence just hours before, was utterly destroyed in a single devastating night. The Ottomans, against all expectations, had decisively turned the tide with a display of ruthless precision and tactical brilliance, forever altering the course of the conflict. Amid the chaos, King Vukašin and despot Ugljesa perished. The exact details are lost. Some say they died fighting, others in the stampede or river. Their deaths shattered any hope of rallying the army. The Serbian force was annihilated, thousands died or drowned. Only a few escaped to tell the tale. The loss of these leaders left the Serbian states leaderless and vulnerable. The Ottomans would quickly exploit the power vacuum. The field of Maritsa became a grim symbol of Serbian ruin. The dream of driving out the Ottomans died that night. The consequences would echo for centuries. The Balkans would never be the same. News of Maritsa's disaster sent shockwaves through the Balkans. The Serbian Empire, already weakened, suffered a mortal blow. Ugljesa and Vukašin's lands lay open to Ottoman conquest. Many Serbian lords chose submission, becoming Ottoman vassals. Even Vukašin's son, Marko Kraljević, served the Ottomans. The Serbian state unraveled rapidly. Its southern territories were lost. The psychological impact was immense. Ottoman superiority was now undeniable. Hope for unity faded. Fear and resignation spread. Maritsa paved the way for further Ottoman expansion. The battle broke the back of Serbian power in the south. It was the beginning of the end for medieval Serbian independence. The Balkans' fate was sealed. Maritsa was a watershed for the Ottomans, a triumph that changed the region. Their military dominance was now clear. The path northward lay open. Bulgaria and Byzantium grew weaker. The Ottomans became the dominant Balkan power. The battle opened the floodgates for further conquest. New resources and manpower fueled their expansion. Maritsa was a stepping stone to the fall of Constantinople and the subjugation of the Balkans. That night in 1371 changed the course of European history. The old Christian empires declined. A new Islamic power rose. The echoes of Maritsa would shape the destiny of nations for centuries.